Hello and welcome back to Forza Horizon 4 to test out another new seasonal championship festival playlist completion prize car. So for 50% completion this week we have got Celica. Now that they've finally added the cars, I know the update was delayed 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Anyway, the update was delayed until winter season when it usually comes out in summer. So we do now have prize cars instead of just wheel spins. That they were planning adding before, but now they've added them now. So you've got 2 this week and 2 next week. So earlier today you would have seen me test out the Corolla. If you haven't already seen that video, that went up earlier today, so check that one out. But yeah, this video is all about the Celica, and I will be back next week to test out the 2 Toyota MR2s. But yeah, today it's the 1974 Toyota Celica, which has obviously been in previous Forzas, most recently Horizon 3. I've actually seen that car very recently. We used it, Fail used it in one of our recent challenges on there when we did the D-Class Goliath. So I've seen that car quite recently. I've driven mine quite a lot on there. So yeah, I'm kind of more familiar with this one than I am with the Corolla that we tested out earlier, which obviously was in, I think it was in Horizon 3, as well as some previous Forza games. But yes, this Celica GT, obviously the first generation of Toyota Celica, which was produced between 1970 and 1977. This is actually a 74 model, with a 1.9 litre engine. The first generation was actually offered with engines between 1.4 and 2.2, several different engines, roughly around that size. But yeah, this is quite a big engine, a 1.9, well, one of the bigger engines they had, it's a 1.9. Yeah, obviously in previous Forza games, so I'm fairly familiar with this. As with the last car, they're not brand new to me, so I have driven them before. And yeah, apparently the Celica was Toyota's response to the Ford Mustang, which I suppose it's a fastback coupe 2-seat sort of version of a saloon car. I guess that's what they were getting at. But yeah, it came out quite soon, well, fairly soon after the Mustang, within a few years, so I guess that makes sense. But yeah, this is slightly more powerful than the Corolla we tested earlier. This has 97 horsepower, so 9 more than the 88 we had in the Corolla, so that's why it's going so amazingly fast. Come on, hit 70. 66. 67. 68. 69. 70. 71. 70. Ah, there we go. Downhill. That's what we needed. Yes, but in Horizon 3 this actually had some quite cool Forza bits to put on it, which I'm hoping we do still have. I'll be kind of disappointed if they're not available. But I think we should... Where's the nearest garage? Is it worth driving somewhere? No, it's going to take forever. Let's fast travel here. Let's see what upgrades and customization we can do. Give the car a nice new paint, and then take it out a little bit. I think we might add a little bit of power this time, because the mistake I made with the Corolla was doing full handling when it only had 88 horsepower. So it was still incredibly slow. But yeah, similar to that, this will be quite a light classic car, so hopefully it'll be good in C and B class racing. I know there's not much of that online, but hopefully we can take part in some kind of events with this, maybe. But yeah, let's have a quick look. So before we get into any of that, let's check the engine swaps. I'm not going to change it. So we've got a 2.6 inline 6 and a 1.6 inline 4. We've got an all-wheel drive swap, obviously. Got turbo and supercharger, and we've got a wide body kit, which is what introduces that sort of intake instead of the headlight, which looks very cool. It's a bit weird how narrow the tyres still are when you do that. I probably will put that on. I'm just going to check these visual mods. I think it's the same thing. Oh no, the Forza Aero is there. It's only if you put the full kit on. The classic car wings aren't too bad on here, but it's still Forza Aero. I actually prefer that without the plastic. Right, Let's put this wide body on first. There we go. That looks quite cool. And then see what else we can do. Yeah, I prefer the sort of... I think it's like that's... Normally the one with the big rubber bits sticking out is American spec, and the Europe spec's slightly neater and smaller, so we'll do that. We'll do that there as well, because it just looks better. I won't put the little wing on. It doesn't look awful, but I think it still looks better without. It is winter, so we'll put on some winter tyres. Very wide, 255s at the front. And I'm guessing we get the same at the 275s at the rear, even bigger. Look at those. So yeah, one of these cars with wide body. Obviously we can put some nice big tyres on. There's no spacers, but I don't know if that's because we've put the kit on. Maybe you can put them on if you don't have the wide body. But yeah, most of this is quite familiar from when it's been in... Well, I remember using it quite a bit in Horizon 3. Right, let's do the gearbox, and then we'll maybe do a few bits on the engine. Brakes. Ah yes, suspension. We need race suspension so that it sits nice and low. It's a lot lower at the back than at the front. It's a little bit strange. Alright, let's not do any of that. Let's put a little bit of power in. How much are we at? Let's at least try and get it over 100. Oh, there we go. A sport air filter, a street air filter gets us to 100. Let's go just sport air filter, sport exhaust, the kind of thing you'd do on a real car. Let's just go with that. Tiny little bit of power. I'll just put it in C class, which is fine. I'm not trying to build it for anything, but yeah, might upgrade it to the top of C or the top of B at some point if we want to race it for anything, but for now this is a nice street setup, which is often what I do with the cars when they're first added. So let's have a look at paint colours first, so then we can either put a design over the top or not. So we've got the yellow sort of stock colour, got a nice red, got a hideous brown, got a green, which I do quite like, but we did the last car in green, so I feel like maybe not that. I do quite like the blue. Ooh, the dark blue is very nice. I think we go with that, and then have a quick look at designs to see if the community's come up with anything nice, which I know is always a bit... you never quite know what you're going to find. If this will save. It's being a bit slow today. I'm sure it's not usually this slow. Right, what have we got? Yellow, yellow. Old racing. I quite like that. That's the same as one of the Corolla ones I saw earlier. That's quite nice. I quite like the look of that. But only if it looks nicer than the blue we had on before. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Okay, it's not really been very well made. Looks cool from a distance. But it kind of looks like it's been drawn on. I think maybe we should just take that off and do a plain design. Because I don't think they're going to be any nice. What's that? Let's paint it blue again. I always end up doing this. I always end up just going with the plain colours. At least we didn't go out of the garage first this time. There's the nice blue we had before. Save. And then we will head out to see what this is like. But yeah, it's quite a cool update with the 4 Toyotas. I'm probably looking forward to the MR2s more than I was these 2 cars. I think the MR2s have been missing from Forza games for longer. They weren't in Horizon 3, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing them or driving them in Horizon 3, if they were in there. But these 2, yeah, I obviously remember driving these 2. This more than the Corolla. Yeah, still not massively fast, but got more than 100 horsepower now, so... Oh, I haven't actually looked in here. It looks very similar to the Corolla, if I'm honest. Same sort of style wood dashboard, but slightly nicer in here. Slightly nicer in here, which makes sense. Yeah, it does look good. I do like this classic Celica. Probably more interested in this than the Corolla. Corolla's a cool little car, because obviously one of the highest selling cars in history. Well, I think it is the highest selling car in history. So a very important car for Toyota. So it makes sense that it's here, but yeah, this is more interesting. It's actually the 3rd Celica we have now. We had the 2 newer ones added earlier, a few weeks back now, as part of the sort of rally update they had last time. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the theme is next time, because I think this little Toyota update kind of feels to me like it's the end of Toyotas that they're going to add, because they've added pretty much all the ones that I can remember from previous games. There might be a 1 or 2, but I kind of feel like they're adding the final 4 as one sort of group. But it'll be interesting to see what we get after this, and how much longer the updates actually continue, because I think it's probably coming up on 2 years, this game, so I don't know if at the 2-year point they'll stop adding vehicles. I hope not, but yeah, you never know. You never quite know when they're going to stop at this point. There are still lots of cars they can add, new cars, but also there's quite a lot of cars from the Forza back catalogue that still haven't appeared. Whether there's more Forza Motorsport 4 cars they'll add, a lot of them have been from there, a lot of the new cars they've added. But yeah, we'll see. I'd have thought they'd keep adding stuff until they've at least announced the next game, which is going to be Motorsport 8, I'm guessing, or whatever it's going to be called. But yeah, I think this will be the last sort of new Toyotas added. I know they're not new, and yeah, hopefully we'll get some interesting cars next week. Next update, after next week. But yeah, I do like this Celica. One of the Toyotas that was obviously missing. But yeah, that is probably going to do it for a first drive of that. So yeah, if you haven't already seen the video on the Corolla, that went up earlier today, and I will be back next week to take a look at the 2 MR2s. Probably this one first, so we'll take a look at the 95 first, and then head back to the 1989, which I think must be the first generation of MR2. So yeah, I'll be taking a look at those next week, and then we'll see what arrives in summer season, which hopefully won't be delayed this time round. But that is going to be all for this video, taking a first look at the Toyota Celica. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.